So today, we're going to dive into this incredible story of sacrifice, of gratitude, and a promise that stretched over nearly half a century. It's all about a nation that was saved, and two men, totally separated by rank and culture, who ended up being linked forever by one single, desperate moment in history. Just imagine hearing those words, stand or die. I mean, this wasn't just some command. It was a line drawn in the sand, and what was probably the absolute darkest moment of the Korean War. And that one order, it was about to change everything. And it brings up a huge question, right? When the fighting is over and a hero is gone, what actually happens to their legacy? Who is it that makes sure a debt that massive is ever really repaid? Well, the answer starts back in the summer of 1950. For South Korea, things weren't just bad, they were pretty much over. 90%. Think about that. By August of 1950, that's how much of South Korea had been completely overrun. The government was literally talking about going into exile. All that was left was this tiny little pocket of land down in the southeast, known as the Pusan Perimeter. And on this absolutely desperate battlefield, you have two key figures. General Walton Walker, the American commander who had the impossible job of holding that last line. And then you have Kim Ri-jin, a young South Korean soldier who was seeing the cost of this war with his own eyes. Their lives were about to become connected forever. So, faced with total and complete collapse, General Walker made a call that pretty much defied all conventional military logic at the time. With that standard die order, Walker created what was called the Nakdong River Defense Line. Later, people just called it the Walker Line. He completely transformed what was a panicked retreat into this ferocious, absolutely unyielding defense. It wasn't just a strategy, it was a sheer declaration of will that, no exaggeration, saved an entire nation. You see, Walker's whole leadership style came from this simple but really powerful philosophy he'd learned in the U.S. Army. Be, know, and do. Be the kind of leader who has moral courage. Know your strategy, know your people, and do. Take decisive action when it counts. It was this total vision of command that inspired his troops to make the ultimate sacrifice along that line. But here's the tragic irony. After pushing back the invasion, after surviving the war's most brutal battles, General Walker died, not in a firefight, but in a simple Jeep accident on a road in the very country he had just saved. A hero's end, not with a bang, but just a quiet, sudden accident. So, with the savior gone, our story now pivots to the witness. Kim Ri-jin, the young soldier who saw the sacrifice, was now about to start a totally different kind of mission, one that would pretty much consume the rest of his life. And to really get what happens next, you have to understand this Korean concept of boen. It's so much more than just saying thank you. It's this deep moral obligation to repay a debt of grace no matter how long it takes. And for Kim Ri-jin, the sacrifice made by Walker's soldiers, well, that was a debt he felt he had to repay personally. 46 years. That's a long time. As the war started to fade into history books, and even as the nation he helped save rebuilt itself, Kim Ri-jin began this solitary, decades-long quest. And his goal was so simple: make sure the man who saved his country was never forgotten. I mean, just think about that journey. For years, he was searching for the exact spot where Walker died, a place that had been totally lost to development and just fading memories. He poured all of his own money into the search, spending his entire personal fortune, until finally, in 1987, he did it. He managed to put up a memorial, keeping a promise he'd made to himself almost 40 years earlier. And when you bring their two stories together like this, it reveals this incredibly powerful lesson. Not just about war, but about what makes a legacy truly last. It's this concept you could call the leadership of memory. The whole idea is that a leader's actions are really only half the story. The other half, the part that actually makes a legacy immortal, is the active work of remembering. Walker's sacrifice was the action. Kim's gratitude was what cemented the legacy. It's like Walker's whole be, know, do philosophy found its perfect echo in what Kim did. Walker's moral courage to act was met by Kim's moral obligation to remember. Walker's strategic knowledge of the battlefield was matched by Kim's dedication to preserving the historical truth. And Walker's decisive action, the doing, was fulfilled by Kim's lifelong action of remembrance. It's two sides of the same coin. So in the end, gratitude and memory. They aren't passive feelings. They are actions. They're the work that gives sacrifice its meaning. Without Kim Region's 46-year promise, General Walker's incredible story might have just been a footnote in a history book. But because of him, it became a legend. Which kind of leaves us with one last thought, doesn't it? The story of the general and the veteran is this powerful reminder of a debt that was actually repaid. And it just makes you wonder, in our own lives and in our own history, what profound debts of gratitude are we just allowing to fade away?